G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute, joined today by Algrid and Osiris Frost. He's back after 6 months again. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, buddy. How are you?
I'm well. I'm actually a lot more refreshed today. I don't know about you, Algrid. Maybe it's the body kicking in, but I feel better today than I did yesterday. What about you?
Oh, I'm worse.
Oh, you're worse?
Not a very good day for sleep. Yeah, not a very good day for sleep yesterday. But I've got a question for Osiris.
Yeah,
yes, sir.
Star Citizen is taking so long. Are you training your gunner yet?
Ooh.
Am I training what?
Your crewman yet?
Yeah, your daughter, I believe. If I'm saying, are you training your daughter? I don't think she's old enough yet, is she? Or?
No,
last time
she's not quite old enough, but she's got the energy and the arguably the aggression to be a very effective gunner.
Who did she get that from, Mum or Dad? The aggression. I'm curious now because you don't seem that aggressive. It's from Mum then. That's from Mum.
Calm, placid.
Yeah, he wants to be married after this episode, Adrian. We better stop. All right, let's kick it off over the browser real quick. I would like to point out yesterday we didn't go through all the ships like we normally do, but for some reason they didn't load on my screen. Yet today, if you go back to Drake, they all did load. So that was an oversight by me. I actually thought they'd remove them all. So if you want to know more about the Drake stuff, let us know. Or I'm going to be honest, I think you could look at an older video that we've done on these, and most of the ships would still be there, wouldn't they, Algrid? And
I think the only real one yesterday was the cutter, and I think we've covered that quite extensively anyway. So.
We are planning to do a buyer's guide on the cutter and the Corsair as well. We might even do it after this episode if you guys have got time. So we'll have a look at. We'll have a talk about that in a bit. All right. Yep. I'm not known as a big fan of Origin, so I'll say it off the bat. So most people are going to be expecting me to kind of be shitting on most of these ships. But I think we've got Algrid here too that will balance me out quite a bit. But Algrid, tell me why I'd want an 85X, because to me, this is literally just the shuttle for the 890 jump, is it not?
You don't want an 85X.
Yeah.
It is the worst. It's basically an Origin starter ship. It is the worst of the starter ships. It has no bed. It's low on guns. It's only got a passenger seat. It's
$5 more than the cutter, which is like the best starter in the game. So, Cyrus?
And
is there anything you would say positive or negative?
No, nothing.
If I was going to spend $50 on a ship, I'd go for 100i.
Yep. All right, we'll talk about that when we get up to it. Wow. Okay, yep. This order is completely changed. All right, 890 jump. We've gone from one end of the spectrum to the other. Now, I'd have to say, as someone that is not the biggest Origin fan, to me, this is still one of the better value. And I know that's a hard pill to say because it's not the Origin ships are not the best value, but this one is better than almost all the other Origin ships. It's technically a capital. It does give you that unique VIP gameplay. And one of the things I've kind of learned through that episode that is not out yet, but I've had to delay that episode for a month. Just so everyone's aware, we made an episode called Origin Sucks, Changed My Mind. And we filmed it with Griffin Gaming, Algrid, Stim Citizen, and myself. And it was very eye-opening for both sides because we learned things about the Origin ships that we didn't know. And I think this might be one of the ones...
I personally just sat in the middle all the way through.
Yeah. I think I was pretty good, but
you were pretty good. You weren't as didn't come across as negatively as you sometimes do.
I tried to be very critical and clinical and not like just throw out things like it sucks. The title was clickbait, right? Yeah. I totally did deliberately, but yeah. Osiris, so because me and Algrid talked on this to death, can you give us your thoughts on the 890 jump?
Sure. I think this ship operates in an interesting place. Obviously, the pledge price is ridiculous, $950 at this point. If you were able to get one before it's sold out in half a second, it still only comes with limited insurance, whatever. Maybe at this point we shouldn't care about that stuff. But the gameplay that this ship offers you is really great. You can do exploration. You can do medical. You can do...
That was one of the big things in the episode was touring and exploration. Are they the same thing? And
no, they're not. But I believe that I believe you can do full-fledged exploration with this ship on par with the Carrack, and I'm not kidding. I'm not exaggerating. You can put 315p in the hanger on this thing, and that can fly out, and it can chart jump points, and it can come back, and you can really, because this thing has a hanger, has a cargo bay, you can configure this in a number of ways. I'm not trying to say that you should get rid of your Carrack if you have a Carrack, because like I said, I see them as closer to equivalent.
Yep.
But I think a lot of people sleep on this ship just because it's Origin and they think it's purely a luxury ship. If you have one, it can do things besides look pretty.
Agrid, I think the only area of what he just said there that you and I would possibly debate would be the 315p, because it's technically 2 tiny pads, yeah?
It is 2 tiny pads, but they have always, one of the early questions that Origin owners had was, can we put the 315p in?
You can put
And
it
I think
in.
that's part of the reason why they've got them in that arrangement, so it can actually use the 315p in the ship safely.
Okay, well, I'll wait and see on that. For me, the jury is still out, because everything I've been told is that
it fits, it sits, no?
Yeah, it fits, it sits, but and it will sit. But can it actually access the repair functionality? Can it access the resupply functionality? That's what I'm waiting on. And if it can do that, then there's no contest and no argument. But everything that tells me at the moment is that is contrary to what it is. So if they make that so it's 2 tinies or 1 small, there's no debate. But at the moment, it's technically 2 tinies.
And that is the issue that we don't know yet.
Yeah.
So it's always been said it could take it was made so it could take 2 85Xs or 2 ships of that size. Players asked whether it could take the 315p even before the ship was out. It was and they had that plan. It was suggested it would be really good if it could take the 300. And remember, back then the 300 was the Origin start ship.
Yeah.
So
I don't think
wasn't as if they were asking something obscene.
Yeah, I don't think it would.
It was kind of a wait and see.
I like, to be honest, I would have trouble if they made it take a prospector. But if they made it as a bespoke Origin feature, like it can detect other Origin ships, so it's just a little bit beyond it fits, it sits, I wouldn't have a problem. So I was like,
I guess one other thing I would add before we move on is, arguably, this game, what we know about the way that this game is being developed, it wouldn't necessarily be the case that you're going to go out into the deeps of space with just your 890 jump and no escort.
Yeah.
And so on that account, you could have ships with you that provided that functionality. If it turned out that, no, you could not repair the 300 series inside the hangar, you could take a repair ship with you, and you would not be at any sort of competitive disadvantage. But, that's a little bit out in the weeds.
Very defensive ship, that one. Anyway, moving on to the G12. Now, I think generally, as a rule, we don't recommend vehicles, but if we were going to say what is the best of the 3 G12s, because there is 3 of them, the A and what's this, the R? Yep. So for me, the best is the G12. I'll pass it on to you, Agrid. What's your thoughts there?
Buy 600 I Explorer and get the G12 free.
There you go. That's a good response. Cyrus, your thoughts?
Algrid took the words right out of my mouth.
All right, moving on. Well, all in agreement. M50. This is definitely up there racer ship for a lot of people. I'm not the biggest racer. I do enjoy partaking them from every once in a while. I think Algrid's probably the biggest racer here. I could be mistaken. But Cyrus, are you a big racer or not? Just a yes or no?
I'm not a big racer. So I'm watching the races, but I'm not any good at flying in them.
So Algrid, I'll let you speak to this one then, mate.
It is a racer. Interestingly, the 85X was made, certainly in law, as a competition with the M50 to work out the racer. So the M50 could be a racing ship, but this leaves it for dead. It's a nice ship. It looks cool. It's got racing stickers all over it. If you like racing, it's not a bad ship, but on certain tracks, a Drake Herald is better.
Yeah, in a straight line.
There you go.
100%. All right, so we've got the X1, X1 Force, and the X1 Velocity. And for me, I think it was this one was the cooler one. I'd have to, man, it's been a while for me on the X1s. I've got to be totally honest with you guys. But I know we're going to fall under the same thing of don't buy vehicles. But I think if you were going to earn one in game for, say, your 400i or whatever, I believe it's the Force. Would you guys kind of not buy, but this is the best one type of thing? Would you guys agree with that? Or
I think so. Yeah, my recollection, like yours, is vague because it's been like 4 years probably since the concept. But I think the Force has some sort of sensor suite
it was like a shield. It
situation.
was like I thought it was like a shield or something. And I know
Oh,
this one,
maybe.
and this one is the
This was our
racing.
racer.
Yeah, that's the racer. It even says here for race fans and adrenaline junkies. And this one says for season planetary adventures. I believe it has a shield or a bigger gun or something. God, it's been so long, man. See here how it doesn't have as big a gun. When you go here, it's got a bigger gun. I think that's what it
Yeah,
might be. So yeah,
and
but
again,
again,
it's $50, and
yeah.
cutter with a game package is 45.
Yeah,
So
I think it kind of speaks volumes though by the fact that we've all forgotten is how much we care about this thing. Is in AK we don't, because it's just one of those things like when we remember what is important and we forget what is not, and that's why we've all kind of like forgotten this because it's just
And
don't
it's
buy
not
vehicle.
important.
Yeah, just don't buy vehicles. They're
yeah,
not good value.
yeah,
All right, Algrid, you were
yeah.
talking about the 100i earlier. So when we
Yeah.
were talking about the 85X, so this is the true starter now from Origin. I still think the 300i is a starter and a better way to go, or now it's an advanced starter. Is that what we call it now? But yeah,
Yeah, I think you'd call the 100i an advanced starter, although the cutter really does raise this up as well, because this actually has heavier hard points than the cutter. So it
yeah.
actually has two size 3s, plus the same missile mount. So it's got
Are you talking
it's
about?
got two size 2 missiles. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, the
Hang,
standard 100i,
mm-hmm.
two size 2s, two size 3s.
Yeah.
I was surprised when I checked that out. But it only has 2 SC of cargo, so
I
and it's
do.
only $5 more from the cutter, so it gives you variety, but it also helps explain why the cutter's at its price point. I think.
I do struggle with the variants now. I'm going to be completely honest because at
Yep.
$50 it's $10 cheaper, but as soon as you get to $60 and 65,
And 65.
the
Yeah, it's
300i is a better buy. So just you can just see that yourself as I've just scrolled it left to right. So Cyrus, unless there's anything you want to add to the 100i series, I'm happy to go straight on
No,
to 300.
the 100i is just overpriced. It's really nice looking ship. It probably should have been added as a snub to some Origin larger ship, 600 or 890 jump. That obviously didn't happen, so just pass and go to the 300.
Yeah,
I reckon it's a better snub than the 85X for your 890. And the other great advantage of that ship is you can spawn it at Platinum Bay places. So
yeah, they probably should have just done something weird and gone to like $67, or you know what I mean, like they should have put it in two $50 increments. Like I know they do everything at $5 increments, but they probably should have just bent the rules on that one so there's at least a price differential. I think this is the best one of the 300 series. Changed my mind, Algrid. that's the only thing I'd say.
why?
Well, because of the utility amount. It's the only ship really and I'm not just including Origin here, but of the starters, it's the only real one that I'm aware of, besides the Nomad, that has a tractor beam.
Yeah, and like I said, why should I try and change your mind?
Oh, you agree with me? All right, cool. Sorry, I didn't get the thing. I think the 350R is another racing one, but again, once you
It
get
is
to
a
this,
racing one.
you've got to start to question your sanity. But if you are into that racing thing, don't let us judge you. You know, but you're starting to get. I don't know what the best. As you said, Algrid, the Herald.
I will let Jax respond to this one. Why do you need a bed in a racer?
There you go. 400i. I actually brought this in game to play with on stream, and we never ever got back to play with it on stream. And I have to admit, in the last probably 2 or 3 weeks, I've flown this quite a bit. Actually, it is very convenient to fly. It's got some good layouts. It is good for a solo person. It's got the guns are probably its weakest point. If you like that bit of style, it's one of those things where people either like the look of this or they hate the look of it. But I think as Origin ships go, this is definitely up there for me. And I would say it's probably at the moment second behind the 890 jump. But value-wise, I'd feel much more comfortable buying this than most. But then again, at its price point of 250, we've just got.
I'll just move like that.
Yeah,
People can see the price point.
Hang on, there you go. I'll put it above your head. But yeah, it's the same price as a Corsair, so like it's a hard pill to swallow, like most Origin ships. Yeah, so Yeah.
For me, it's one of the three Explorers at that size point: Corsair, 400i, and Aquila. And it's not as, I don't think it's as good as the other two.
Yeah.
And it's around the same price. So
you correct me if I'm wrong, Elliot. It feels like you're paying extra for better components, but the components are kind of like almost overvalued. Cyrus, would you kind of agree with that?
Yeah, it's, I don't know off the top of my head what the relative component quality is between this and the Andromeda and the Corsair, but I'd say you're certainly overpaying for the label anyway, the luxury tax, and it's the first Origin ship from that we've hit that's kind of interesting.
Yep.
But I would prefer it, like a lot of what our comparisons are what else could you get for the price, and like Algar said, there were better options at $250.
It kind of explains our overall problem with Origin, doesn't it? Yeah.
But I do like the fact that this ship does have those, climate controlled rooms that kind of lend themselves to exploration. And of the Explorers, it's probably the one that is best suited to being a single player ship. I know it's got the turrets and other, for another player, but it really has that more one player.
The three of us could take one out and it would be fully functional and we could have a good gameplay session.
I think the kudos that we will give to CIG is they definitely tried to be bold with this ship. Like, the look is way bolder than, let's say, the 600i is probably the boringest looking of those three big ones, the 400, the 600, and the 890. You know how the 890 is bold? It looks different. The 600i just doesn't quite... It's too safe for me. Where this
600i is too refined. This is a very bold look. I like this look. It's very...
Well, that's what a lot of rich people do, don't they? They like something bold and that looks different, and that's why it looks more luxury to me than other ships. But all right, 600i and touring. Just as a short little segue, I believe this is the war bond for today. Someone is going to tell me in chat. I forgot what ship it's from. But
there's the Prowler.
Prowler, yeah. So from the Prowler to the 600i Explorer, $5, and I believe it's a
$30.
20. Is it $30? Hang on, let's just go back and do it for real. Then I don't even have to question it.
From the touring to the Explorer is only $10. You don't have to wait for Asperia Day.
There you go. So that would make it $5 USD. Yeah. So from a Prowler to a 400i, or you could, as I said, if you want to go from the 600 Explorer, you could do that too. But $5 is the way I'd be going, personally. Anyway, back to the right page. That'd be great. 600i. Anything?
So this is a really interesting time to talk about it because we just had that Inside Star Citizen 2-3 days ago, where they started hinting at the rework, and I was very encouraged by what I saw. I know it's very preliminary, but this is a ship that it may be greatly expanded in the terms of the quality, or greatly enhanced in terms of the quality once that rework is completed.
And especially for $5, if they do decide to put their price up, you've locked in that cheaper price. And I've just been messaged by one of the guys, and they've said, and I agree with them in hindsight, if one of the, you were talking about going from the touring to the Explorer, don't do that, because if one changes price, the other may change price, which is highly likely. So you're better to stay with the Prowler, because the Prowler's less likely to change in price. So that's the CC to get for me anyway. Albert, is there anything you want to add to the 600i before we move on?
No, I think the rework that they've shown, I think they've kind of locked that in. They've got a fairly good idea. They've talked about those changes twice. We've seen those changes. The ideas, we've seen the artwork, they've seen a better layout. I know when we did our Can We Fix It, some of the things they've got in that layout are what we, kind of the things we were saying would make sense.
Yeah.
But I think the changes they got just show how much wasted space was in the 600i. And it was one of the things we kind of picked up when we were talking about it. Like, it just cavernous rooms that were just empty, and I was blown away when I saw how many levels they'd actually put in.
And I think
for the exploring model.
I think we'd all agree they've definitely taken the luxury factor way up, which was my biggest problem. Like, if we're paying for luxury, where the hell is this luxury, right? It was just really kind of a style change, not really luxury. And now, like the example I've always given is I used to go on to Paul's Astropub ship, and he'd have a bar, and the bar was like an island bench. And now you can see in the concept pics, it's sprawling, covers the whole room, and it's over the top. That's what luxury is. It's over the top. That's probably the best way I can explain it. Bold.
And I do like.
Sorry, hang on. Sorry. Bold and over the top. Sorry, Agrid.
Yeah, and I do think the 600i Touring does pick up that. You can see the family resemblance to the 890. You've got the sweeping stairwell, which is even wider and seems more serviceable than the 890s. It does have a nice luxury feel. It's a so if you want that type of feel, it's there. But I think the Explorer is a better one just because you get that G12 and it gives you that exploration gameplay. But
the weird thing is though, all right, and I don't know how they justify it. At the moment, the Touring costs more in game. If I've got that right, the cheaper one actually, this one costs more in game for some reason. And I think if you look at it from a logical standpoint, because it's got extra furniture and finishings and stuff like that, that's why they've put it higher, where the Explorer in game probably doesn't come with a G12, right? So that's why the Explorer out of game costs more.
Well, I know the Explorer is the one that comes with the G12, not the Touring. So
yeah, so what I'm saying is, out in game though, our grid, if you deduct the price, that's probably why it's cheaper.
Yeah,
because it's essentially
I kind of got that after you.
Yeah, I gotcha.
After you said it, kind of clicked.
Yeah, because it's just an empty room essentially, then, isn't it? All right. Is there anything you want to add on that one, Osiris? Because that's it. We're done. We're kind of done for today. Short and sweet. Anything you want to add? No. All right.
No, I never understood the appeal of touring gameplay or VIP transport. It's not my thing.
Now I'm going to throw you under the bus a bit here. Are you coming back for any other day on the sale, or we're not seeing you for another 6 months?
No, I'll be back. I'm going to be back for Best in Show Day, I believe.
That'll be awesome, because I'll need a bit of help there. We'll be doing the CCU stuff, so I will definitely need your help there. And you are, I would say, other than me and Algrid, you were right up there with me and Algrid. In fact, I'd say you're probably above us in some in-game, especially the CCU chaining stuff. You're really good at that. So we'll look into that on that day then. Algrid, is there anything you want to say before we head off?
No, just Origin. Origin. That's what I do.
Origin is getting better.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that bell as well. Also, make sure you turn on all notifications on the bell, because we've had a lot of people are not getting the notifications. So I'm going to kind of push that a little bit to make sure you guys turn on the notifications, because we've been hearing from lots of people they're missing the videos. So cool. Let us know your thoughts below in the comments. What you think of Origin? Are you like us? Do you think they're a little bit overpriced for what they are? I will get that episode out. I had to delay it because we had other things that had to come in front of it, and it's just really unfortunate. But yeah, look forward to that as well. Origin sucks. Changed my mind. It was a very eye-opening episode for us. I think Algrid got stuff out of it, and so did the guests. Algrid?
But do remember to, because I know so many people love Origin with a passion, keep it civil.
Yes.
Keep it civil, and we do read every single comment. We may not answer every single comment, but we do respond to every single comment. Oh, we do read every single comment. We may not respond to them.
Yeah, you're more welcome.
And if you want to go the extra mile,
go ahead.
If you want to go the extra mile, we do have Patreon as well, and you can also go become a YouTube member if you so desire, but not necessarily.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
appreciated.
Sorry, I was just going to say, if you are going to debate in the comments below, please be civil. And remember, text is a bit of a cold medium. So we've often found fights break out with text. But anyway, other than that, I've been Execute. He's been Algrid. He's been Cyrus Frost. We'll catch you in the next one.
And we're out of here. Take care.